welcome back to another video of Terrestrial Gecko 2, and I'm here at Beaumaris Castle in Wales, and I'm going to be showing you around. So my dogs are here. This castle started to be built in 1298, but was never completed because Edward I, who made the command to make this castle, ran out of money and he couldn't afford to keep on building this castle, so this castle was never finished. These are the murder slots where they would have dropped boiling sand down to burn their enemies who tried to attack this castle, and they would have also fired down here, fired arrows. But the main place they would have fired is in these arrow slots where they would have fired out of, and then this one is broken, but this one is intact. And then you can also see this ridge in the wall here where the gate would have dropped down. There's also one on the other side. The castle was built because when King Edward I took control of Wales, there were tons of rebels attacking against him to try and take back their homeland. So he set up a ring of castles around the north and castles in the middle of Wales, so they could have centres where they could store part of the English army to go and attack. So it was almost as if a stall of a ring of stalls where the army was kept, where they when they were rebels, the armies would go out and fight them, and that's why this castle was built. Because this castle was never actually finished built, its nickname is actually the greatest castle that was never built. This is the northern gatehouse, as you can see if I come up to this sign here. So this is the northern gatehouse, and you can also see that there are ridges here where the gate would have gone in, as it did on the southern gatehouse, which I just showed you, and this one on the other side. And then there are arrow slots here, and then this one's also broken down. And then if you see up there, there is a remainder from the murder slots where they would have sent down boiling sand and fired some arrows. So you can see that's where it would have gone, but it's collapsed. This is the outer wall which goes all around the castle, and I'm in the northern part of the outer wall, and this is the second protection layer after the moat, which you can see just through this arrow slot. This is an arrow loop, and there were many of these around the castle. These would have been places where they fired arrows out of and used other defence mechanisms. There is still one open, and you can see another bit of the moat there. And then if this castle was built properly, you would be able to see that there is a floor here, and you can see that because there's a ridge here where the floor would have gone into, and then you can also see that there are more places for them to fire arrows out of, up there, there, and there. Walking up to the top of that outer wall, so this is where they would have fired more arrows. So you can see there's another arrow slit, and then you've got this whole part to fire around, and you've got the moat, and then so when the enemy would have came, they could have just fired stuff, and they could have also thrown rocks. So they also threw rocks as well as firing arrows, because rocks were actually quite effective, and there were lots of them. Here's another arrow loop that was never completed because the floors had been put in. And this is the view from up here onto the castle. And then it kept on going in this direction all around, so they would have kept on firing arrows and putting throwing stones where they would have fired their arrows from. So underneath the murder slot, they would have had arrow slits. As I said, this one is broken, but they would have fired arrows out of this one. We are now in the inner walls, so there are different parts of the inner walls, and each of them have a little piece going through the main wall where they would have had arrow slots and other storage compartments, so where they can shoot. So each little part of the wall has an inner wall, and then the other bit of it would be solid. These are the arrow slits. And then this is also would be a storage compartment. These stairs would have led up to here, so they would have more spaces to shoot, like a turret. But as this was never finished, it did not work up to be like that. As you can see, some of the stairs are still here, even though it didn't work up to work because it was never finished or used. They did finish building the stairs, but most of it's fallen down throughout the ages. So as you can see, there are lots of them. There's one there, there's the one we just came from, and then there's one there, and one there, and there's also one there. So they have quite a few dotted around so they can keep off the enemies, as this was a defence castle, not a wall. This is the tallest part of the castle where they'd be able to fire for longer because they have the more distance, and they can see for longer with the more distance they can see, so they could shoot enemies from more afar.